Welcome back to another episode of Buzzworthy Businesses, where we highlight leaders who are making a big impact both locally and worldwide. I'm Morgan Yonge, and today I'm joined by my co-host, David Permenter with Generation Media.
Lovely to be here with you, as always.
Yes, and then we have another David Walton with Attorney Shield. Thank you for coming.
Happy to be here.
Yes, so tell us about Attorney Shield and who you serve.
So Attorney Shield is a mobile app and a legal service, and our mission and goal is to provide legal support during police-initiated contact. And all I mean by that is if you get stopped by police, or you get in an auto accident and you have to call the police, or if they show up at your house because of a domestic situation or noise problem, you have the ability to hit basically the button on the app. You choose your incident type and you get an attorney on demand, real time, 24/7, 365.
Wow, very quick response there.
Very quick response.
And so who is it primarily that you're helping with this? And tell us the ins and outs of the benefits.
That's a good question. So really it's for anybody who is driving or driving age or whatever, because your largest opportunity to interact with police are when you're in your car, right? But our target market and what we find is our target customer are males between 25 and 45. Right? Males also are at higher risk of police-initiated contact and higher risk of certain enforcement actions, right? And so our secondary market is basically mothers or parents, rather, of teen or young adult children, right? They're off to college, they're new drivers, and if they're stopped or they get into a traffic accident, our service includes an emergency contact feature. Where when they hit the button, the emergency contacts receive a geolocation text or email that lets them know exactly where their child is or that individual is, their loved one, so that they can at least be aware that something's going on, right? And so really the benefit of the service is self-advocation with police can sometimes get tricky, right? Plus, a lot of people don't know their rights, don't know that you don't have to answer questions, you don't have to allow a search, you don't have to allow a police officer to enter your home unless they have certain information like a warrant, right? Or if there's probable cause, in many respects that doesn't exist because they're just beginning their investigation. And so the goal here is we want everybody to have access to a licensed and trained legal resource, an attorney that knows the law, knows the rights, so that they can advise an individual properly. Because what you don't want is a few things. You don't want to become your own state's witness, right, by talking too much. And number two, you may think you don't have anything in your car, but imagine your young adult child who had all of their friends in their car, and then after they dropped them off, they get pulled over. They don't know, that individual doesn't know what was left behind, right? And so you may think you have nothing to hide, but the general rule of thumb is keep your mouth shut and don't allow searches if there's not probable cause or if they're not saying that there's probable cause.
So in an interaction, how does the attorney with whom is the attorney interacting? The person who got pulled over, or with the police? Is that on the phone? Is it on a video doing this back? How does that work?
Good question. And so it is a mobile app, and it's recorded video. And so we record both channels, the attorney and the member. We call them members, not customers or subscribers, right? And what that does is it creates sort of a record that's from the individual's perspective, right? And what it is the attorney initially will speak to the member to try and get a sense of what's happening. But if the member says they don't want to talk to the police, the attorney will talk to the police on the member's behalf. Now, the police don't have to listen to the attorney. They don't have to engage the attorney. We find that they engage about 75% of the time. We find the other 25, they partially engage because it's sort of hard not to, right? But at the end of the day, self-advocation, if you're advocating for yourself, well, officer, I don't want to answer those questions, that can be viewed by the officer, or at least perceived by the officer, as a challenge of their authority and you being sort of an obstruction to their investigation. It's not. It's your right not to be able to answer their questions, right? And so that can create a contentious situation, and the attorney acts as sort of a barrier to keep the ire of any frustration being directed toward you and it's directed toward the person who's on the video.
You have articulated that incredibly well.
Yes, absolutely.
I have to say. So the ideal member is male 25 to 45?
45, yeah, roughly.
45?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And this is a nationwide program?
Nationwide program.
So with different laws in different states, I assume then there must be attorneys, specialists in each of the 50 states to handle anything that comes up in that state?
There are. However, our scope of service is not going to get involved with. What we're trying to do is we're trying to create a situation of collaboration, right? We don't want to try and override the officer's observations of what they feel what law was broken. We simply want, during the course of that investigation, that investigation be a legal investigation and it doesn't have any type of coercion. So if you've got a air freshener hanging from your mirror in one of those states that believe that's an obstruction of your view, we're not getting into that, right? We're not going to litigate on the roadside, right? What we're going to do, we're going to say, officer, okay, you have the right to detain my client to do your investigation. Do your investigation. They're not answering any of your questions. We're going to deny any searches of the vehicle. Have at it. If you're going to write them a citation, write them the citation and let them be on their way. They got to get the work, right? That type of thing. It's really to keep that interaction as short and as cordial and as compact as possible.
And it's all done in a way that makes it admissible evidence in a court of law.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And 'cause let's be honest, there's certain cops who take that power a little bit too far. And so this protects people from that, which is needed these days.
Yeah.
Because we see it all the time. Certain people get shot and killed by police, and we need to have a lawyer present in certain scenarios, and that probably just diffuses.
It does. If you look at that from a probability function, and there's not a specific number out there, but let's just say that 75% of cops, police, do their jobs, they do it properly, they do it right every time, and they make no mistakes, right? Then 25% of those cops either make mistakes, they don't know the law, they don't know what they're doing, or they've got a power trip, because we know that exists. You don't want to be the guy on the side of the road with that 25%.
Exactly.
Because that's going to negatively impact you. And that officer doesn't care what happens to you on the back end. They are rated on how many tickets they issue or DUIs or whatever. They don't care that you're not drunk, really, but you have to deal with that on the back end while they wake up the next day and go to their jobs and do the same thing the next day.
Well, thank you for what you're doing, because it's probably saving a lot of lives and a lot of people's time.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I think given that there's the video element of it, officers are likely wearing a video cam as well. So fair's fair.
Fair's fair.
Yes.
That's the way we see it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And
Thank you guys
viewers,
for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And viewers, thank you for tuning in to another episode. If you want more information about Attorney Shield and where to find it, you can head to our show notes on dailynewsnetwork.com, and it's all right there. And we'll see you in the next episode of Buzzworthy Businesses.